The colony of New Dawn was far from Earth, almost 300 light-years away. It was a quiet place, chosen for its fertile land and calm skies. People built homes, schools, and farms. Children laughed in the fields, miners worked in the mountains, and scientists studied the strange rings of the nearby gas giant. For years, the colony lived in peace. The settlers believed they were safe. The galaxy was vast, and humans thought they were too small to be noticed by greater powers. But that belief was about to end. High above the planet, hidden in the dark of space, unknown ships appeared. They were long, sharp, and black, with glowing red lights. The colony's satellites detected them first. At first, the signals were ignored. Traders often passed through the system, and no one expected danger. Inside the control center, operator Leon studied the radar. The screen showed 20, then 50, then 100 ships. His hands shook as he checked again. These were not traders. These ships had no identification codes, no friendly signals. He spoke into the radio, his voice trembling. "Command, we have incoming vessels. They are not human." The words sent fear across the room. Not human. It was the phrase every colonist had feared but never believed they would hear. The governor of New Dawn was contacted at once. She tried to calm her people, telling them it could be a mistake. Perhaps the visitors only wanted to talk. Perhaps they had come in peace. But peace was not their plan. The alien ships moved fast, dropping into low orbit. From the ground, people looked up and saw the sky filled with red lights. Children stopped playing. Farmers dropped their tools. The sound of alarms spread through the colony as families ran toward shelters. Then, without warning, the aliens opened fire. Blinding beams of energy cut through the sky. The first strike hit the main city, turning towers into burning ruins. Streets exploded, sending cars and people flying into the air. The second strike hit the spaceport, destroying ships before they could even take off. Fire lit the horizon, and smoke rose higher than the mountains. Panic spread. Mothers carried children, fathers tried to shield families, soldiers rushed to defend the colony, but their weapons were useless. Human rifles and cannons could not reach the alien warships. Above, the defenders fought bravely, but they were only men and women with small arms, facing war machines built for galactic conquest. From orbit, the aliens showed no mercy. More energy beams rained down, burning forests, destroying water supplies, collapsing entire towns. The colony screamed in chaos. In the last command bunker, Governor Amina stood with her staff. The ground shook with every blast. She looked at the screens showing fire, destruction, and death. Her people were dying, and there was nothing she could do. One officer shouted, "We have to send a message to Earth. Now, before it is too late." The governor nodded. "Do it. Tell them what happened here. Tell them humans are not weak. They must answer." The message was short but powerful. Across the stars, it traveled faster than light, racing toward Earth. The final voice of New Dawn said, "This is New Dawn Colony. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. They think we are weak. They believe humanity will fall. Do not let them be right. Earth must answer. Humanity must rise." Moments later, the control center was struck. The signal cut off. The governor and her people vanished in fire. On the surface, survivors hid in caves, forests, and ruins, but most of the colony was already gone. Entire generations were erased in hours. The aliens moved slowly across the planet, burning everything they found. Their red lights painted the night sky like a storm of fire. The aliens did not speak, did not offer surrender, did not ask for peace. They came only to kill. In their minds, humanity was nothing more than an insect species, easy to crush, easy to erase. But what they did not know was this: humanity never forgot its dead. The destruction of New Dawn would echo across the galaxy. On Earth, the message was received by deep space stations. At first, the officers who read it thought it must be a mistake. But when the recordings of fire and screaming voices played, the truth became clear. News spread within hours. Every major city on Earth saw the images of the burning colony. Families wept. Soldiers clenched their fists. Leaders gathered in silence. The aliens thought humanity was weak. But that day, a fire was born on Earth, a fire far greater than the Ike, one that destroyed New Dawn. The survivors' last words would become the call of an entire species. The galaxy would soon learn, when humanity is pushed to the edge, it does not break. It strikes back. The message from New Dawn arrived at Earth like a scream through the void. It was broken, filled with static, but the words were clear enough to cut deep into every heart. They think we are weak, or do not let them be right. For a moment, Earth stood still. In the great cities, screens replayed the flames of New Dawn again and again. People saw towers falling, skies burning, families running from fire. It was not a movie. It was real. Humanity had been attacked and its children had been slaughtered. Anger rose like a storm. In every home, in every street, the same questions echoed. Who were these aliens? Why had they come? And how could they be stopped? But most of all, people asked, what will Earth do now? The gathering of leaders in Geneva, the United Earth Council, met in a silent chamber. Leaders of every nation sat around the great table, faces pale with shock. Generals stood behind them, their uniforms stiff, their eyes burning, the room filled with heated voices. They burned an entire colony, one shouted. They think we are nothing, cried another. We must defend our people. A general slammed his fist on the table. For the first time in centuries, there was no argument about politics, no debate about borders. Everyone agreed. Humanity had only two choices, submit or fight. President Adarin of Earth spoke the words that would mark the beginning of a new age. Humanity has been tested, and we will not fall. If they think we are weak, then let us show them what true strength looks like. The chamber roared in agreement. A race against time. Earth's scientists and engineers were summoned. Plans were drawn for a fleet unlike anything before. The project was called Operation Wrath. Its goal was simple: build warships so powerful that no alien race would ever dare attack humanity again. But not just a few ships, not 100, not 1,000. The order was for 500,000 dreadnoughts. Factories that once built cars and planes were converted overnight. Massive shipyards rose on the moon, in orbit above Earth and deep under the oceans. Mars became one giant construction site, its red deserts glowing with the fires of industry. Billions of workers toiled day and night. Entire economies shifted toward one purpose: vengeance. The soldiers of a new war, while engineers built the ships, soldiers prepared for the battles to come. Training centers overflowed with volunteers, men and women from every corner of Earth. Young and old stood in line to join the fleet. One drill sergeant shouted to his recruits, "Remember New Dawn. Remember what they did to our brothers and sisters. You are not just fighting for Earth, you are fighting for all of humanity." The recruits answered with a single word that shook the air: revenge. The first dreadnought. After months of endless work, the first dreadnought was completed. It was launched from a shipyard above Earth, its hull gleaming silver against the stars. The ship was a giant, stretching miles in length. It bristled with cannons, missile bays, and energy weapons so strong they could shatter a continent. Its shield generators glowed blue, humming with power. As it moved slowly out of the dock, millions watched from Earth's surface. Crowds filled the streets, cheering and crying. The name of the ship appeared across every screen: Avenger of Dawn. It was the first of many. Soon, more dreadnoughts followed. Dozens became hundreds, hundreds became thousands. And the work never stopped. Fear turns to fire across Earth. A new spirit spread. Fear turned into determination. Weakness turned into strength. People who once doubted humanity's future now believed it was unstoppable. In the schools, children no longer whispered about monsters in the stars. They spoke proudly of the fleet that was rising to protect them. In the factories, workers painted the words "For New Dawn" on the sides of dreadnought hulls. In the council, leaders no longer argued about survival. They planned victory. Aliens watch, but humanity was not alone in its preparations. Far across the galaxy, the aliens who destroyed New Dawn watched with cold amusement. To them, humans were still insects. They believed no young species could stand against their power. They laughed at the idea of Earth-building warships. Yet reports of human activity continued to arrive. Scouts sent back images of massive shipyards, fleets of dreadnoughts being tested, soldiers drilling by the millions. Some alien commanders began to worry, but their leaders dismissed it. "Let them build," they said. "It will not matter. They cannot stop us." The oath of Earth. One night under the stars, billions of humans watched a single broadcast. President Adarin stood before the first completed fleet. Behind him, dreadnoughts glowed like suns, filling the sky with blue fire. He spoke calmly, but his voice carried the weight of the whole species. New Dawn was not the end. It was the beginning. They thought we were weak. But from this day forward, humanity will never be weak again. We will rise, we will fight, and we will make the galaxy. Remember the name of Earth. The speech ended, but the silence that followed was louder than any cheer. Every human, from the smallest child to the oldest elder, felt the same fire in their hearts. Humanity had awakened, and soon, the galaxy would discover what that truly meant. The years after New Dawn became known as the Age of Steel and Fire. For the first time in history, every human nation worked as one. Borders no longer mattered. Flags no longer mattered. Only survival did. Only vengeance. The endless shipyards all. Across the solar system, shipyards grew like cities of metal. On the moon, vast factories carved into craters built engines the size of skyscrapers. On Mars, entire canyons were turned into assembly lines, where hulls of dreadnoughts stretched for miles. In Earth's orbit, rings of scaffolding glowed like halos. Hundreds of thousands of workers floated in zero gravity, welding, hammering, and guiding new ships into the void. The black of space filled with silver giants, dreadnoughts, humanity's titans of war. Each ship was unique, but each was deadly. Some bristled with railguns that could pierce planets. Others carried swarms of drones like metal hornets waiting to strike. Every dreadnought was a fortress, built not only with weapons, but with the rage of a people who refused to be erased. Humanity, united, the building of the fleet became more than a mission. It became a culture. Songs were written about it. Stories were told to children. Every worker believed they were part of something bigger, something eternal. A miner on Mars, breaking ice for fuel, whispered to his son, "Every rock I dig powers the ships. Every ship carries our revenge." On Earth, students ended their lessons with a pledge. "We remember New Dawn. We rise as one." Even the poorest cities, once forgotten, sent volunteers to work in the shipyards. Humanity had never been so united. The training grounds, while engineers built ships, soldiers trained to command them. Massive academies were raised in orbit. Simulators filled with holographic alien fleets tested young captains until they collapsed from exhaustion. In one training hall, a young woman named Captain Ilara faced her trial. Before her floated a simulation of 100 alien cruisers. Her dreadnought was alone. The instructors expected her to retreat. Instead, she advanced. She split her ship into dozens of decoys, then drove straight through the alien line, firing all weapons at once. The simulation ended in silence. Every alien ship had been destroyed. The instructor leaned forward. "Remember this day," he told the class. "This is what it means to be human." Numbers that shook the stars. 5 years after New Dawn, the numbers became staggering. 100,000 dreadnoughts, then 200,000, then 3. Scouts from other alien empires whispered the reports, passing them in secret. At first, they were dismissed as human exaggerations, but soon the evidence could not be denied. Images of endless shipyards, fleets stretching across the black, reached alien councils. Some races began to worry, others laughed, but all began to notice. The test of fire. Before the great fleet could move, It had to be tested. On the dark side of the moon, the first live fire exercise began. A single dreadnought targeted an asteroid 300 kilometers wide. Its captain gave the order. A blinding spear of energy lanced from the dreadnought's cannon. In seconds, the asteroid cracked, shattered, and split into burning fragments. The explosion lit the night sky, visible even from Earth. Billions cheered. Humanity had forged weapons powerful enough to shatter worlds. The oath of the Armada when the fleet reached half its number. The United Earth Council gathered to bless it. 500 dreadnoughts lined in formation, glowing with power. From the central flagship Avenger of Dawn, the oath was spoken. We are the sword of humanity. We are the shield of our people. We are the fire that answers the void. For new dawn for Earth we rise together. Every captain repeated the words. Across the fleet, voices thundered into the silence of space. The galaxy would never forget the sound, whispers among the stars far away. In the alien empire's high council, arguments broke out. Some urged an immediate strike before humanity grew too strong. Others dismissed the humans as reckless children. They cannot truly build 500,000 ships, one commander said. But already his spies brought proof. Images of fleets, so vast they looked like silver oceans in space. The alien leader, cold and arrogant, waved his hand. Let them come, he said. The galaxy has seen many young races rise and fall. These humans will be no different. He was wrong. Forging a legacy. 10 years after New Dawn's destruction, the impossible became reality. The Armada of Earth was complete. 500,000 dreadnoughts lined from the orbit of Mars to the edge of Jupiter, engines burning bright blue like 500,000 suns. Each ship bore a name. Some were named for cities lost in the fire. Others carried the names of fallen families. One bore the name Governor Amina, who had spoken humanity's last words from New Dawn. From above, the fleet looked like a storm made of steel and fire ready to move across the galaxy. The silence before the storm, and then they waited. For the first time in years, the workers rested. The soldiers sharpened their blades. The captains studied maps of alien space. The galaxy held its breath. The aliens thought humans were weak. But now, 500,000 dreadnoughts waited, in silence. And soon, that silence would be broken. The galaxy had been quiet for too long. Scouts whispered of a storm rising on the edge of alien space. For months, their ships had watched humanity's dreadnoughts gather in silence, growing stronger, brighter, deadlier. The alien High Council did not believe the reports. 500,000 ships? Impossible. No young race could achieve this. One laughed. But deep inside, even they began to feel the first stirrings of fear. And then, the storm arrived. The call to arms, the alien fleet moved first. Their scouts detected another human colony, small and unprotected. Thousands of alien warships gathered, ready to burn it as they had burned New Dawn. But this time, Earth was ready. From the dark of space, the Armada of humanity emerged. 500,000 dreadnoughts, aligned in perfect formation, filling the void like a wall of steel. Engines glowed bright blue, 1,000,000 suns against the dark. For the first time, the aliens saw the truth. The humans had not lied. The fleet was real. The dreadnoughts were real. And they were here. A voice thundered across the stars, broadcast from the flagship Avenger of Dawn. This is Earth. You thought us weak. You thought us broken. Today, you will learn the cost of your mistake. The first shot. The alien commander sneered, trying to hide his fear. Destroy them, he ordered. Alien cruisers moved forward, firing beams of red energy. The void lit with burning light. But the human fleet did not scatter. They advanced as one, shields glowing, weapons locked. Then came the order. Fire! Line of dreadnoughts unleashed their cannons. Blue lances of energy cut across the battlefield, piercing through alien cruisers as if they were paper. Dozens of ships exploded at once, torn apart in brilliant fireballs. The galaxy's silence was broken. Battle in the void. The clash shook space itself. Alien warships swarmed in great waves, red and black against the stars. But every wave was met with human fire. Railguns thundered, sending rounds faster than light. Missiles streaked, leaving trails of burning fire. Swarms of drones burst from human carriers, moving like silver storms, tearing into alien fighters. Inside one dreadnought, Captain Alara gave calm orders, her voice steady even as the ship shook. Target their flagships, break their lines. Her crew obeyed, unleashing volleys that split the alien formation in two. Everywhere, human captains fought with fury. Every dreadnought bore the memory of new dawn. Every shot carried the weight of a colony's screams. The turning point at first, the alien fleet fought bravely. They had numbers, experience, and centuries of war. But as the minutes turned to hours, their strength began to break. For every human ship destroyed, 10 alien ships fell. The sky filled with wreckage, burning metal drifting across the battlefield. The alien commander watched in horror as his fleet crumbled. He shouted for reinforcements, but none came. The humans had trapped them. Behind the alien fleet, another wall of dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace, cutting off retreat. The aliens were surrounded. The wrath of Earth, from the flagship Avenger of Dawn, General Kalen gave the final command. Show them what humanity is. The dreadnoughts moved as one. 500,000 cannons fired at once. The soundless explosion lit the void brighter than a sun. Entire alien squadrons vanished in an instant, consumed by the storm of fire. Alien morale broke. Ships tried to flee, but humanity gave no mercy. One by one, the fleeing cruisers were hunted down, disabled, or destroyed. The battlefield became a graveyard of burning wreckage. The galaxy would remember this battle forever. The silence. After when the last alien ship exploded, the void grew quiet again. Only drifting debris and fading fire remained. The human fleet stood unbroken. Hundreds of dreadnoughts bore scars, but the vast armada still glowed, engines humming like a storm ready to strike again. On every ship, crews cheered, some in triumph, some in tears. For the first time since New Dawn, humanity had not only survived, it had won. General Kalen sent one final broadcast to the galaxy. We are humanity. We are not weak. We are not prey. From this day forward, let all who see the stars know, if you strike us, we will strike back tenfold. If you burn our worlds, we will build fire greater than yours. If you challenge us, you will fall. The galaxy trembles across distant stars. Alien races watched the battle's recordings. They saw human dreadnoughts moving like a sea of steel, saw entire fleets vanish in seconds, saw the courage of a species that refused to die. Some whispered in fear, others prepared for war. But all knew the same truth. The galaxy had changed. Humanity was no longer the quiet child among the stars. It was now a force, rising, burning, unstoppable. The promise of more, as the human fleet regrouped, survivors of New Dawn were remembered. Their names were carved into the walls of every dreadnought. Every captain repeated the oath. For New Dawn, for Earth, for humanity. The clash was over, but the war was not. The aliens would not forget, and neither would humanity. The storm had only begun. The battlefield was silent now. Wreckage drifted in the dark, glowing faintly as fires burned themselves out. The armada of humanity remained, its 500,000 dreadnoughts lined across the stars like an endless wall. The first great battle was won, but Earth was not finished. Humanity had carried its grief for too long. Now it carried fire. The path to the enemy scouts followed the trail of the broken alien fleet. It led deep into their empire, through star systems crowded with colonies, stations, and war factories. At the center of it all lay the alien homeworld, the beating heart of the empire that had destroyed New Dawn. The decision was made. Humanity would not wait for another attack. The armada would strike at the source. As the fleet advanced, alien worlds trembled. Civilians watched from their skies as the horizon filled with dreadnoughts. Stations surrendered without a fight. Soldiers dropped their weapons. The humans did not destroy these worlds. They moved past them, silent, focused. Their target was greater. The shadow over a world. At last, the Armada reached the alien homeworld. Billions of aliens looked up into their skies and saw nothing but fire. The human fleet blotted out the stars, engines burning blue, weapons ready. 500,000 warships stood above their planet, each one carrying enough firepower to erase continents. The alien leaders, proud and arrogant, rushed to their defense councils. But for the first time in their history, their voices trembled. Why? Have they come here? They would not dare. But the truth was undeniable. Humanity dared. Humanity stood at their doorstep. The message of Earth from the flagship Avenger of Dawn. General Kalen sent a transmission broadcast across the alien world. The message was short, spoken in calm, steady words. You thought humans were weak. You burned our colony, killed our people, and laughed at our pain. Today, you see the price of that mistake. We could destroy you now. We could turn your cities to ash. But we will not. Humanity does not kill for pleasure. Humanity answers for justice. The voice grew colder. Understand this. If you ever strike at us again, if you touch one more human world, we will return. And next time, we will not stop at mercy. We will end you. The broadcast ended. Across the alien homeworld, silence fell. No one moved. No one spoke. The mark of mercy. The Armada did not fire. It held its position for one full day, a wall of steel, casting a shadow over the alien homeworld. The meaning was clear. Humanity had the power to destroy, but also the will to show restraint. It was a warning and a lesson. When the dreadnoughts finally turned and left orbit, every alien who watched knew the truth. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was a force to be feared, respected, and remembered. A galaxy changed. The return journey was slow but triumphant. Wherever the human fleet passed, alien races bowed their heads. Some sent offerings of peace, others hid in fear. On Earth, the homecoming was celebrated like no event before. Billions filled the streets watching as dreadnoughts hovered above the oceans, glowing like gods of steel. Children pointed to the skies, whispering, "That is our shield." The names of the fallen of New Dawn were carved into a memorial that stretched across continents. Every year humans would remember their sacrifice. And every year, they would remember the vow that followed. Never again would humanity be weak. Gut tier. Legend begins stories spread quickly across the galaxy. Traders, smugglers, and spies carried tales of the battle, the Armada, and the day Earth stood above an alien homeworld. Some called it the revenge of humanity. Others named it the Day of Dreadnoughts. But within human hearts, it was remembered as something simpler, justice for New Dawn. The future awaits in the council chambers. Leaders spoke quietly. The Armada had proven itself, but the galaxy was wide, and danger still lurked in the dark. Humanity could not rest. It would explore, expand, and defend its people wherever they lived. General Kalen stood before the fleet one last time. His words echoed through every dreadnought, through every heart. We are humanity. We remember our dead. We rise for our living, and we march for our future. The stars are open to us now, and the galaxy will never forget our name. The crews roared in answer, voices shaking the steel walls of their ships. The fleet turned toward the stars, not in fear, but in strength. Humanity had taken its place among the powers of the galaxy, not weak, not prey, but something greater. And so the story of New Dawn's fall became the story of Earth's rise, a story carried on the wings of 500,000 dreadnoughts. Story that marked the beginning of humanity's legend among the stars.